What's up, U.S. history people? This is Mr. Lawrence,
And Mr. Norris.
and we're talking to you today about labor organizations or unions. Video number 5. Mr. Norris, this is the last video of the packet. How excited are you?
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. This is one of my favorite topics to study.
It's flown by, huh? Crazy, Mr. Norris, how fast times have flown by. All right, so let's start off talking about labor organizations, please. I, Mr. Lawrence, will read the first one. Business growth in the late 1800s brought generally higher wages or money to American workers. Yet periodic unemployment and poor working conditions remained a fact of life for workers, especially poor working conditions. Mr. Norris, will you please read the next bullet?
Absolutely. In addition, employers held enormous power over the lives of their workers and could lower their wages and fire employees at will.
Yeah, it seems like they have a lot of power. You can just fire and hire anytime you want.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's start off talking about So let's talk about labor organizations. To improve conditions, increasing numbers of American workers formed labor unions beginning as early as the late 1820s. Now, as working conditions changed with industrialization, many more workers became interested in unions.
And we're going to notice one of the most significant powers that unions are able to gain for themselves, the idea of collective bargaining. All right, so one of the most significant powers that unions will be able to gain for themselves, the ability to collectively bargain, which means they have the ability to negotiate with management between unions and the employers. So workers will be able to elect representatives to sit down for them and really hash out a contract or certain wages or working conditions or benefits that they feel they are entitled to from the work they perform. The managers, in return, will look at things that they need, costs of production, things like profit, and determine what is a fair wage. And hopefully both workers and management can come to an agreement through negotiations.
So basically, they're just agreeing on a contract. Everybody right now for us, please write down the word contract and then circle it for us. Contract and then circle it. That is what collective bargaining is. Okay, let's talk about some major unions that began to develop. And the first one is the Knights of Labor. And this develops right after the Civil War. And look at the mustache on Mr. Terrence Powderly. We should do that for No Shave November next year. What do you think?
Great idea.
I couldn't do that, but still. So we have Terrence Powderly, and the characteristics of the Knights of Labor included skilled and unskilled workers. So you have artisans, you had people that were very good at using their hands, and there was a specific skill set they had, versus unskilled workers or people or jobs that took very low skill to do. They also included women and African Americans. So the Knights of Labor were very inclusive to many different groups. They were very open to many different groups. So some reforms that they sought or advocated for: they wanted an 8-hour workday, end child labor, and equal opportunities for women. So this was a very forward-thinking labor group for its time.
So the Knights of Labor, ladies and gentlemen. So the Knights of Labor, ladies and gentlemen, a large membership. Their idea is power in numbers. So if you include skilled and unskilled workers, if you have so many people as part of your union, you're going to have a lot of negotiating power over management in a variety of different industries. So the next one we have to talk about is the American Federation of Labor, the AFL, which is still around to this day in certain forms. What do we need to know about the AFL? Well, first of all, it was run by a guy by the name of Samuel Gompers. There's a picture of Sam right there.
Does he not look like Colonel Sanders from KFC?
A little bit, yeah.
I always think fried chicken when I see this guy. He looks like Colonel Sanders to me.
Yeah, I guess he's from that time period.
He is.
Some characteristics you need to know about the AFL, a little different than the Knights of Labor, is it's a collection of unions and skilled workers in similar trades. So they're doing it a little differently. They're narrowing their search for specifically skilled workers. We'll talk about why that is in a second. The reforms that they sought were, again, higher wages, better working hours, and working conditions. So the idea of actually only having a 5-work-day week starts with the development of unions. The idea of only working 40 hours a week also starts with the issue of unions.
Okay, let's jump over to the International Ladies Garment Workers Union, or the ILGD, or the ILGWU, as historians, whatever. So this was also led in part by Samuel Gompers, and some characteristics of this: workers in the cloth manufacturing industry, or what do we call it when people work in like clothing industries?
Textiles.
That's textiles. Yes, it is not tiles on ceilings. And working against sweatshops was a characteristic of this. They wanted to eliminate those really bad factory conditions, and also working with the American Federation of Labor. So this is kind of like a women's union working together with the AFL. Both of them are led by Colonel Sanders, Samuel Gompers.
So what we're starting to see is development of specialized unions. So unions for specific industries, which we still see today. We have things like the United Auto Workers, who are made up primarily of
auto workers.
Very good. Or a local police officers union made up of
police officers.
Yes. So we're starting to see more of the specialized unions start to develop.
All right, guys, that is it for video 5. Please answer the following question in at least 3 sentences. What were the goals of labor unions, and how successful were they? This is Mr. Lawrence thanking you for watching today, and we will see you right back here in the next unit.